It's the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. We do a lot of talking about Aaron Rodgers and is he a bad guy or is he something else? But my man Q has some interesting points about that Davante Adams raised. That kind of opens some things up about Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about that and a lot more. Top five receiver duos in the NFL and a Deshaun Watson update. It's the Locked On NFL Friday edition with Chris Carter and your boy Q. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. I'm Chris Carter. He's your boy Q, and we're bringing you all the NFL talk that you need on your Friday to get you into the weekend. Again, I'm Chris Carter, host of the Locked On Steelers podcast. Here's Q from Locked On Raiders. Q, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed here with you again on a Friday, man, and just kind of powering through the offseason, right? Powering through OTAs and mandatory minicamp. Before you know it, training camp will be here, and then bada boom, bada bing, it'll be the regular season. So, man, excited about each and every week talking some NFL action with you.
It certainly is exciting. Here in Pittsburgh, we just wrapped mini camp, so that's all said and done. And that basically, all the players, they were getting to their planes. They were trying to fly out of Pittsburgh as soon as possible to get their vacation started, and get everything going. So that's going on here. But I wanted to talk to you about something that happened in your neighborhood in Las Vegas with Davante Adams. Adams opened up about his decision-making process for why he left the Packers, and it involved Aaron Rodgers. And of course, anytime you talk about Aaron Rodgers and decision-making, there's going to be a lot of people coming out of the woodwork. But
Right.
Q, in this talk, it's apparent that Davante Adams is saying, hey, I chose to leave because Aaron told me he's not sure what's going to happen with him, and I wanted to be somewhere where I knew I was going to have the kind of quarterback that I know will maximize my talents at this important part of my career. So that leading to it, and there's a lot of different ways to go at this, but you gave me a very interesting take from the Raiders' perspective that I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, originally when the Davante Adams trade happened and we started hearing reports out of Green Bay that the Packers offered him more money, which he confirmed on Thursday that, yeah, they did offer him more money. But he also added to the fact that, hey, the conversations with Aaron were very honest. They were open. And the fact that Aaron didn't give him a set time of how long he was going to play. And Davante said he's got a lot of things he still wants to accomplish. He's got a lot of goals that he's still chasing. He wants some stability. He wants to be able to raise his family, in an environment that he's very comfortable with. But honestly, I look back at it and, there's a lot of things that is said about Aaron Rodgers about, oh, man, this guy, the fact that he took so long to make a decision and him being back and forth, flipping and flopping and all that other stuff really led to Davante Adams asking to get out of there. It was actually just the opposite. It was Aaron Rodgers being honest, and Aaron Rodgers, telling him straight up, like, hey, I don't know how long I'm going to play. It could be 1 year. It could be 2 years. Well, Davante Adams clearly wanted stability. He said, hey, no offense to Jordan Love. I think the kid's a good guy. I like him. I think he has potential, but he also wants to be somewhere with the quarterback he's very familiar with. So if he's not going to be with Aaron Rodgers for 4 or 5 more years, why not be with his college teammate Derek Carr? So I just thought that was a big deal because there's so many times, especially over the last couple of years, that we're quick to kind of dog out Aaron Rodgers and say what a bad guy he is because he's, misleading somebody in one way or the other. But for him to be honest with a guy, think about this, Chris. I mean, if he's just wanted to be selfish, as we always talk about Aaron Rodgers pretty much being selfish, he could have told Davante, yeah, I'll be here 4 or 5 years, and then after a year, retire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that happens. That happens. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's actually quarterbacks out there that would look their star receiver in the eye and lie to him and say, yeah, I'm going to be here 4 or 5 more years just so they can have that stud playing with them for the next year or two before they decide to move on. So I got to give Aaron Rodgers a lot of credit for being open and honest with Davante Adams.
I do too, because it's also when you actually read the quotes and you get into what Davante Adams actually said, it makes more sense because initially when you hear that, my mind goes right to, oh, so Aaron Rodgers not telling the Packers what's what, and not giving them a straight answer is what led to Davante Adams leaving. Well, wasn't that? It was the fact that Aaron Rodgers himself didn't know how many more years he had in the NFL, and him telling Davante Adams that's hitting, letting him know, like, hey, man, I know that you're making an important life decision. Let me be real with you about my life decision. I
Right.
don't know yet, and I don't know what's going to happen down the line here. So I'm not going to try and put you in a position where you're making a decision based off of me when I'm telling you right now, and we're friends, that I'm not putting you that you know, I don't know what's going on. So don't bank on me. If you want to stay, great. I'd love to have you. If not, good luck, man, and go get your bag. And that's what he went and did with the Las Vegas Raiders. But Q, I think this is very interesting, and you're right. Aaron Rodgers has put himself in the middle of a lot of controversies,
Right.
whether it's vaccines and are
Yeah.
they real and are they effective in COVID-19, or battling with coaches, whether it was Mike McCarthy, years ago, whether it's
Right.
Matt LaFleur now, whether it's, what do the Packers need to do to win, all those other things. There's been a lot of places that he's been a controversy, but this isn't a controversy. This is, if you're a Packers fan and you're feeling, Aaron, why didn't you just lie? That's more of him being a good person. And sure, there's protecting the shield, there's
Right.
doing what's best for your team. But Aaron Rodgers is like, look, man, people got lives, and I'm putting my friend over me lying to try and just keep him around on the same team as me, when I'm confident I can come back and ball next year with whoever I line up with.
Right, exactly. And again, I feel like, Aaron Rodgers realizing what Davante Adams, his goals were, and them being close like they were and still are. As a matter of fact, he said that when Aaron Rodgers was in town for the match with Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen, he wanted him to go, play a round of golf with them. And except for the fact that he had to be at OTAs, he would have. He didn't get that opportunity. But I mean, it's just, they're still good friends, but he understood that Davante had more goals that were more than the 1 to 2 year timeline that Aaron Rodgers is probably looking at. So that's why Aaron Rodgers, like you said, was upfront and honest with him and said, hey, you've got to do what's good for you. You got to do what's good for your family. Yeah, the Packers are going to give you a lot more money to stay here. Maybe not a lot more money, but more money to stay here. But we get it. We get it if you decide that you rather go elsewhere. And so that's what he ultimately did. He said he's happy to be here in Las Vegas, happy to have his family close to him. He grew up in the Bay in California. So now he's got his, family close so they can go see him play games all the time. So it's really a win-win situation, raising his family in a community that he's happy about. There's a lot to like about it, but I mean, really, at the end of the day, man, Aaron Rodgers is a lot of things. We talk bad about him quite a bit, and rightfully so. He puts himself in some bad positions sometimes. But this time, you've got to go ahead and tip the cap and say, you know what? That's a pretty cool move. And if you're a Raider fan, you really should be like, hey, man, that was really cool that you were honest. Now the Raiders have a stud wide receiver for the next few years. So as much as other fan bases want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, Raider Nation ain't got nothing to complain about when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. That's just being real.
Hey, listen, I get it. It makes a lot of sense for that. And again, sometimes these things are bigger than just teams and bigger than just
Yeah.
winning and losing and things like that. It's about lives. It's about livelihood. It's about making career decisions. And I do think that is a point in the favor of Aaron Rodgers doing a good thing for someone else rather than the criticism he gets for being, selfish or whatever people accuse him of. And that's not to say that his other accusations aren't wrong. That's not to say he
Yeah,
hasn't been,
exactly.
that's not to say that he hasn't messed up in other instances, but in
Right.
this one, I think he did the right thing. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk to Q about who are the top 5 wide receiver duos. Is Davante Adams and Hunter Renfrow on that list? We'll see that here. We'll each be giving our top 5s right here on the Locked On NFL podcast, the Friday edition. But first, we're going to talk to you guys about betonline.net. Betonline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NBA playoffs, which the finals are going on. Q and I are actually going to talk about that later in the show with Game 4 coming up Friday night. But also, there's the Stanley Cup playoffs. They're almost there to the Stanley Cup Finals. There's a lot of excitement there, and of course, Major League Baseball, which is well underway. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, from live betting, playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in the action when you visit BetOnline when the game starts. Back here on the Locked On NFL podcast, the Friday edition with Chris Carter and your boy Q. All right, Q, it's time to do a top 5 list.
List. We love lists.
We love lists.
Must be the off season.
It's the off. Exactly. It's June, about to be July in a few weeks. So
Right.
it's that time where we got to start stretching things out. But this is kind of tied to talking about Davante Adams and him going to the Raiders. And going to the Raiders, he joins Hunter Renfrow, who had a good season last year. He's been rising up the ranks. He finished with 1,038 receiving yards last year, 21st most in the NFL. So there's some excitement there. Can Davante Adams and him make that? And Davante Adams, of course, with the Packers, finished third most in receiving yards with 1,553. So with that said, Q, it's time to go over our top 5 wide receiver duos list. Now, again, some people might there's some wide receiver groups out there that got multiple receivers. You might feel like, hey, this guy's the actual number 2. We're
Yeah.
talking about like it's like NBA Jam style, baby. You're just making the best duo you can and going out there and killing people with them. By the way, even back in the day before they had Steph Curry, I was killing people with the Warriors. On NBA Jam. So that's that. But
you've always been team light skin.
I don't even remember who they had.
I'm just saying.
I don't think did they have a light skinned team back in NBA?
Yeah, you were the guy.
God. Yeah, okay. Calm that down. All right. So let's go. Let's go with our top 5 here. Who's your number 5 NFL wide receiver duo right now?
Oh man, that's so tough. Number 5. Oh man, I kind of had a list going together earlier. Geez. How about Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf? How about
that's
that?
A good one.
You like that? Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. I like DK Metcalf a lot. A lot of teams slipped on him, obviously, allowing him to get past them and getting drafted much later than anyone expected, or not anyone expected, but he expected. He expected to get drafted in the first round. That didn't happen. The Seahawks pick him up. And I liked how Tyler Lockett has developed. I mean, when he came into the league, he was a guy that was he was really just a kick returner and a special teams guy. But he's really developed into a heck of a wide receiver. So how about Lockett and Metcalf at number 5? That's good for me.
Hey, I ain't mad at you for that. My number 5 is a little different. It's the Chargers, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen.
Okay.
I like the way these two mix together. Mike Williams last year, both of these guys finished 12th and 13th in receiving yards. Williams with 1,146, Allen with 1,138. These two were dynamic, and Mike Williams also got hurt for a little bit and wasn't at 100%. He also missed the game. You're looking at this team and you're saying, man, with Justin Herbert, these two are going to be flying all over the place. But always loved Keenan Allen's ability to work in the slot, to get open, to be shifty, to do things. And now he's that wily veteran. He's not the young guy anymore. He's I think he's 30 years old now. So he's going to be the guy doing that. Mike Williams is in his late 20s. Both these guys are in their primes. They're my number 5 receiver duo. But who's your number 4?
Let me go to Tampa Bay, man. Let's go Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I know Chris Godwin coming off an injury, but Mike Evans is just a constant, right? I mean, he is the absolute stud. Ever since coming out of Texas A&M, and even when I was in Texas covering all kind of sports in Texas, I always said that Mike Evans was the reason why Johnny Manziel was so good, and he's proven that in the NFL where Johnny Manziel's washed out. So, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin doing their thing in Tampa Bay. Mike Evans was really good when they had Jameis Winston. He's even better with Tom Brady. So I'm going to go ahead and lean on that. And the only reason they're really at the number 4 spot is because Godwin's coming off injury. So I'm going to go Evans and Godwin at number 4.
I'm going to go at number 4, guys. We've talked about Davante Adams and Hunter Renfrow. I think Davante Adams is a top receiver in the NFL. I think Hunter Renfrow is working his way up, but he's still got a bunch of work to do. But I do think that they are going to be an interesting dynamic duo as far as the different skill sets that they offer. Both of them will be dynamic, and Derek Carr is going to get some chances to make some big plays. All right, who's your number 3 wide receiver duo?
I think I got to go exactly where you went. I think I'm going to roll with Davante Adams and Hunter Renfrow, and we all know the greatness of Davante Adams. I just think that Hunter Renfrow is on the come up. Obviously, he went over 1,000 yards a season ago. He's not going to need that many yards this year. I mean, if you expanded this to trios, I think that Adams, Renfrow, and Waller are probably the best trio in the league. Maybe I'd feel comfortable saying they're the best trio. But as far as duo, I can't put Adams and Renfrow there. I'll put them there at the number 3 spot.
That's fair there. My number 3 spot, the Cincinnati Bengals. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Okay.
Jamar Chase, obviously 1,600-yard dude as a wide receiver. As a rookie, he comes out, he puts numbers up. T. Higgins, also a young dude. And they got Tyler Boyd. Them with Joe Burrow is nasty. They're a nasty group. And this was where I was kind of going with, like, who's your 1-2 punch there? Because Tyler Boyd, he carried the Bengals receiving core for years, but now he's got these youngins coming in here and
Yeah.
they're stealing the show. So I'm going to put these guys as the top two guys. Chase is dynamic. T. Higgins is dynamic. I think T. Higgins still has a little bit more growing to do. I mean, both of them do have more growing to do, but I think that these guys could end up being number one in very short time here in the NFL. Who's your number 2 wide receiver duo?
It's funny because I forgot about Higgins and Chase, and so now I'm starting to go back and think about, like, reevaluate my list so far. But I'm not going to go backwards. I'm just going to give you props and let you get that one at number 2. So all Cincinnati fans, I apologize. I'm not going to put Higgins and Chase on my list just because
Watch out, man. You know that Bengals fans came for us the last time.
I know, and that's why I apologize ahead of time, because I just overlooked them again, and that's just what I've been doing with the Bengals, unfortunately. So I'm going to skip on Higgins and Chase, but I got to go to Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. And obviously they haven't played together before. Allen Robinson coming over from the Bears. I just think the potential there with Kupp and Robinson is going to be fantastic. Even though it really pains me not to put Higgins and Chase on there. So can I do 2A and 2B or 2 and 2A?
No, there's only 5. There's only 5. You stuck with it. You have dissed the Cincinnati Bengals.
I did.
So
I did. I apologize. I apologize, Cincinnati. Who that? Is that who that? That's who that or who they?
It's who that.
Okay.
Yeah, who that's the Saints.
Disrespect twice now. Jeez.
But I'll join you. I'll save you. I'll take some heat with you. Who that makes sense. Who they just sounds dumb. I never understood.
I didn't go there, but yeah, I did go there. I did go there with Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. I think that they're a fantastic duo, or they're going to be a fantastic duo in LA. And of course, LA's got tons of great talent. They're spending a ton of money, and they're giving up all their draft picks because they don't care, at least the early ones, because they're good to go. Got a Super Bowl ring, and they're trying to get another one. So let's go Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson at number 2.
I feel you there. But I just want to reemphasize who that makes sense.
Okay, man, you're trying to really
look. Who Dey is a ripoff of who that, just like Raiders Nation is a ripoff of Steeler Nation.
It's Raider Nation, by the way. So say it correctly first of all. And there's no such thing as that other. There's no other nation like you tried to say there. I don't know what you're talking about. That thing doesn't even exist. So Bengal fans, go for Chris Carter. He has no idea
I did all this just so I can get my dig at Q. That's all I wanted to do. All right, my number 2 is a pair that you listed already. It's Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I go for these two simply because Mike Evans is still a superstar type of player. I was looking at PFF numbers before the show for another thing I was writing on Chase Claypool, but Mike Evans, when I was looking up receivers with at least, I think, 105 targets on the season, he had the highest contested catch rate of all of them. And that's just, again, shows he could go up and get it at any point in time. And I know Godwin's coming off of injury, but I've watched Godwin since his days at Penn State. He is a phenom. And when he comes back, he's gonna be dangerous. Those two are still going to be a dangerous 1-2 punch. Watch out for the Buccaneers. As long as they're healthy and Tom Brady's healthy, that offense is going to have a chance to light you up. But all right, I'm curious. We got a few pairs left here for both you and me. Neither of us have said Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson.
Right.
So that they're up there. Neither of us have said Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. So with that being said, who's your number 1 wide receiver duo in the NFL right now, Q?
None of us have said DeAndre Hopkins and Marquise Hollywood Brown either. That's another duo right there. But I'm going to go with Hill and Waddle. And the only thing that holds me back on this a little hesitation, I think that is dynamic. Waddle is a fantastic player. I mean, that dude, he's next level. And we all know what Tyreek Hill has been able to do over the course of his career. He's a game changer. So I think that those two guys in Miami are going to be outstanding. My only slight hesitation is the trigger man. And we've talked about Tua plenty of times on this show. Can Tua be the guy to feed them the rock, to make them and allow them to be the dudes that I expect them to be? Besides that, as long as they can get the rock, they're going to do some great things with it. So I'm going to roll with Hill and Waddle, but I'm going to also put the asterisk there of Tua. You've got to find a way to get them the ball.
No, I feel you on that. And this was my team that just missed it. I don't have Hill and Waddle on my list. This is my team that just missed the cut there. Part of this is because, like you said, the trigger man, I'm not so sure about that. Hill adjusting to his style of play while Waddle's, working with Hill. I think there could be some chemistry problems there as far as getting these guys the production that I think they both could if they were on a different, with
Right.
a different quarterback. But the duo that I'm talking about, they share a similar comparison here in that one of these guys is a free agent, one of these guys has been on the team, and that's the Rams, Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson.
Ooh, okay.
Allen Robinson, another dog that I watched in the Penn State days. This guy is a wide receiver one by himself. He's a playmaker. He's made it work with just rough situations in
Terrible quarterback.
Chicago. And they've had really rough times, and he's been doing it. Now he's going to join Matt Stafford, and he's not just joining Matt Stafford. He's got Cooper Kupp, who, for my money, was the best wide receiver in the NFL last year. He's got the complete package. He's getting separation, making ridiculous catches. You put those two together, if they're both healthy, they are going to be the best wide receiver duo in 2022 this year, and you'll see the Rams competing again for a Super Bowl championship. Also, I gotta say, who didn't know that Aaron Donald was coming back this year? We knew that was happening. I was
Yeah.
Retirement.
No, he
Man
ain't
is just
retiring.
getting your money.
Exactly. We knew that. Of course, Aaron Donald was going to get the bag. He deserved the bag, and he did. And then Cooper Kupp, he deserved the bag. He got the bag. The Rams are just dishing out money. You get a bag, you get a bag, and you get a bag. I just wish that they had told me where my place in line was. Apparently, I don't have one, and that's okay. That's all right. Maybe they'll pass one down to me later. Even a half a bag, I'll take. It's all good. But hey, shout out to the Rams that are getting that money.
Hey man, I can just ask for a 20. That's all I'm asking, man.
Right.
Yeah, but anyways, those are our top 5 lists. Let us know if you think we're crazy. We're on Locked On NFL YouTube page. You can check us out there. We got all our different outlets. Hit up your boy Q254 on Twitter, for Q at Carter Critiques on Twitter and Instagram.
I think I like your list better than mine. I think this is one time that I give you more credit than myself. Mark it down, because that doesn't happen often.
This just in.
Oh,
Q has given Chris Carter credit for something when he should have been given credit for everything.
Oh, well, now see, you ruined it now. Now you just ruined it.
That's what I do. I ruin things.
Yeah, you do. That's very Chris Carter of you.
Yeah, it's on brand.
It's on brand. Exactly right.
Anyways, we got to roll to a serious topic. We've done some fun things, but we would be remiss if we didn't give our opinions on some of the developments with the Deshaun Watson decision. We're going to a situation. It's not a decision yet, but it's the coming decision with Deshaun Watson that we're going to address. Also, some final thoughts getting you out of here, but we're not done yet. So stay with us here on the Locked On NFL podcast. Back to the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. I'm Chris Carter. He's your boy Q. All right. Deshaun Watson. This situation. I said this take earlier. I say this take almost every time there's a new accuser with allegations adding to the lawsuit and everything else. We're up to now, what, 24?
24 and counting.
24 accusers. But then it was put out there were 66 masseuses that he contacted. So there's that number that's out there too. To me, the number is losing its significance. And that's not to say that more people, if it's happened to more people, that they shouldn't come out. I'm not saying that the number isn't important. But to me, as far as the importance of the NFL's decision, it don't matter if it's 15 or 30. Right. This has been a very serious case for quite some time. You had I thought it was a very moving piece from Soledad O'Brien on HBO Sports, where she talked to multiple accusers about what happened. You got their descriptions of how things went down, and you have Deshaun Watson's lawyer not helping his case by coming out and talking about happy endings and things like that. Yeah. Deshaun Watson is in a very tough space, and the NFL is in a very tough space if they want to act like, we'll brush this off and he'll play the whole season. I mean, I've been talking to fans who have been telling me, like, Chris, like, women who are fans of the NFL, they're like, Chris, I love this game and I even love your show, but this makes me not want to watch this sport anymore because this is ridiculous. This guy is just going to walk away scot-free without anything to it. What is the pressure on the NFL? It's real right now, Q. Like, is this a situation where if they don't suspend him for a year, they're toast?
I mean, look, it's a situation where they've got to get it right, and really this is such a tough situation because, as you know, he's not facing criminal charges, right? So you could say, okay, well, he didn't do anything wrong and it's innocent until proven guilty, which is facts. That is absolute facts. But man, I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And I'm sorry, they're up to 24 cases
A
already.
lot of
And
smoke.
yeah, a lot of smoke. But somebody pointed this out to me. They said, Q, and kind of what you said, the number doesn't matter. If you look at this as a whole and you take a step back and realize if there is one woman out of all these women that is telling the truth about their encounter with Deshaun Watson in a massage setting, and he did what they're claiming that he did, even if there's one, that's enough to say that that's a scumbag, right? I mean, think about it. I mean, it doesn't matter if you do something awful one time or 100 times, you're still a bad dude.
Yeah.
And this situation, if he in fact did do what he's being accused of doing, and of course we don't know, only the massage therapist and Deshaun Watson really know the 100% truth. I mean, if he is accused of that, then that's a bad dude that's gonna that memory and everything that happened is gonna ride with these young ladies for forever. I mean,
Yep.
that's something that you just don't bounce back from. So the NFL has end racism in their end zones. They have breast cancer awareness month. They have
They say we
salute
take
the military.
domestic violence seriously and things like that.
Yes, they have all these causes that they're down for, and they have this, that, and the other. But then there's a guy that is being accused by multiple women in the 20s right now of some kind of sexual assault. And it's like, well, yeah, he's not facing criminal charges, so it's okay for the Cleveland Browns to offer him $230 million guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like, as one of the women said in that HBO special that you mentioned, it feels like he's being rewarded for bad behavior.
Yep.
Right? I mean, it's like I always say, and this is totally a different subject, but I said about Cliff Kingsbury, like he failed up. He got fired and got a head coaching job in the NFL instead of having to work his way back up. Well, in this case, Deshaun Watson like scumbagged his way up. If in fact he is guilty of what they're being accusing him of, and it's just like. It just doesn't feel right. It just feels gross. It feels like you sold your soul to the devil. I mean, you cover the Cleveland Browns in the division. I mean, I know you cover the Steelers, but they're in that division.
I talk about them, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to see them a couple times a year. And I mean, to me, it feels like that team is so desperate for a win that they were willing to do anything and take a chance. And you're telling me that's not a bad look for the organization? It's a terrible look for the organization, and it's an even worse look for the NFL if they, in fact, just let it go. Like, hey, no problem, no criminal charges, he's good to go. Even if they only suspend him for 4 games. Like, are you serious? How many games did Zeke get for pulling down his girlfriend or the girl he was seeing or the girl he was hanging out with? He just pulled down her top at a parade. He got like 4 games, 4 or 6 games or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? How many games did Tom Brady get for manipulating a football? You know what I mean? Like, where are the priorities here? So it's a slippery slope that the NFL is on right now.
Wide receiver who's currently sitting out an entire season for gambling on his team while he wasn't playing for the team because he was injured. Things like that. And I understand. Yeah, right. Brought to you by DraftKings. Like
right.
that's what we're looking here. And yes, there's rules that make those things happen. Like there's a rule that if a person gambles on an NFL game, especially when they are out for a year. So I get that. But you are sending messages when you're hitting these rules, and that means you need to revisit these rules if you want to send better messages. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of women out there who are watching this, and they're wondering, do I need to care about this sport anymore? Because they don't seem to care about me if that's how it is. And I'm not saying that's how I feel. That's how they feel. But I'm with them on this though, because this has gotten to the point where it's out of control. Like, I'm a person who said for years Ben Roethlisberger needed to be suspended when he was going through his things. He had 2 accusations over his career, and he was suspended. Now, again, no criminal charges, no actually even charges at all. It was just settlements out of court. We heard about him briefly, and that was that, and they were gone. But 2 allegations, he deserved his suspensions, and there's plenty of people in Pittsburgh that still didn't like him even when he came back. But this is 24 women who are coming forward. This is a whole different ball game, and it's gone quiet for so long. There's no commissioner's exempt list announcement yet. That, I think, is what is making this situation worse and worse. And every day that there's another person that comes out and says, this is, I was also, accosted, or I was also taken advantage of. It just makes it look worse. But again, the number to me isn't what matters. It's the fact that it's not that it's another number. It's that another story, another person for an interview to happen where this person can describe. I mean, you get like just nasty chills. It's like, like when I'm watching the HBO special and thinking about, like, what if that was someone that I knew? What if that was someone that, like, that? And I was like, man, I can't believe someone I knew went through that. and not that it has to be that person that I knew, but the empathy comes out for
Make
like,
it
man,
personal. Yeah.
nobody should go through that. So
Ever,
yeah,
not at all. Again, it's just a slippery slope. We're hearing about the Texans maybe helping facilitate, some
and
of these,
they're going to get added to the lawsuit supposedly.
and they're added to the lawsuit. It's just, I mean, man, it's just, it really feels gross, right? This whole scenario feels gross, and it feels like the NFL needs to step in and say, hold on, like you mentioned, that commissioner exempt list. Why don't you go and put them on the commissioner exempt list while you work this out? Show that you're doing something. I think that there's a bigger problem is that it doesn't look like the NFL has done anything. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, hey, no criminal charges, no problem. They allowed him to sign a $230 million guaranteed contract, fully guaranteed. Like, they allowed that to happen without fully knowing what was going on. And the Browns, who said, oh, yeah, we talked to who we needed to talk to, obviously you didn't. And the ownership, shame on them for just, hey, no problem. Again, if you have proven, and this is what has been proven to me, if you can play the game at a high level, it really doesn't matter what you do or what you're accused of doing in the league, because you're still going to get a chance to play if you can still perform at a high level. And I know nobody likes talking about Colin Kaepernick, but I'm gonna close my point with this. My man took a knee peacefully, didn't touch anybody, didn't bother anybody, didn't sexually assault anyone, didn't do anything that was going to harm your body or your mind. He took a knee peacefully, and other players followed him because they wanted to take a knee and join him as well. And that's why he didn't play and hasn't played since 2016. And also, his skills were starting to deteriorate, so he wasn't playing at that high of a level. But I'll tell you this: if he still could play at the level of a Deshaun Watson or the level that he played when he helped the 49ers get to the Super Bowl, he'd have been back out there. It's just a matter of, if you can do it at a high level, the NFL will give you a spot. And that's the unfortunate part of the situation, and unfortunate part of the sport I love.
There's a really good bit that a comedian, Shane Gillis, does on this, about how football can cure anything with winning. Look, just go up YouTube, Shane Gillis, Alabama football. It's a really good bit, but it talks about the reality of, Alabama didn't allow black people in their school until they started getting beat by them, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh yeah, bring them on in."
Come on in.
If you winning, people will adapt to what they need to adapt to, and I think that's what you're seeing. Jeff Lloyd can attest to this. There's a lot of Browns fans that feel like Deshaun Watson is being treated poorly, and that this is not, he should not be punished for anything, and that this is being pushed way over the top. And there's a lot of people that feel like that there, and a lot of it's because they know Deshaun Watson allowed to play and he's healthy. It severely increases the chances of the Cleveland Browns to win games this year and even be a Super Bowl contender. So I get it. And then that's going to be a continuing story that we do not stop talking about here in the Locked On NFL podcast.
I'm glad you brought up Jeff, though. Make sure, Jeff. I'm glad you brought up Jeff.
He does a great job with that.
Yeah, great job with the Locked On Browns show. And if you want updates on Deshaun Watson, make sure you tune into that, because I'm sure he is. I know how much action I had a season ago with the Raiders with all their ups and downs. I guarantee Jeff is busy when it comes to the Deshaun Watson situation and the Cleveland Browns. So make sure you check out his show.
Absolutely, do check that out. Before we go, I want to get Q's thoughts on Game 4 of the NBA Finals Friday night, baby. The Warriors down 2-1 to the Celtics in Boston. The TD God. I gotta ask you, do the Warriors even it up tonight?
I think so, and I thought this before that we saw what happened in Game 3. I thought that they were going to go back to Boston and split the two games in Boston. I just felt like that was going to happen. I thought that the Celtics would win Game 1 just because the energy of the crowd. I mean, it's phenomenal there when it comes to Boston's fan base. They're loud and proud. They're a little nasty at times, but I mean, they're a very proud fan base there. They love their team, and so they really provide a home court advantage. The only thing I'm concerned about is Steph and his ankle injury. If he's healthy, and when I mean healthy, I'm saying about 75 to 80%. If he doesn't look like he's struggling out there, I think the Warriors win tonight. But if he looks like he's out there struggling, like limping or anything, then the Warriors go down 3-1, and then they eventually lose the series.
Yeah, Steph Curry says he's going to play. But it just matters how hot is he. Clay had to get his legs back under him before he started doing Clay things again for the Warriors. They need those two guys to be on point, and then that'll open up more opportunities for Poole. That'll open up.
Poole needs to show up to the party.
He does.
He needs to show up to. by the way.
He needs to show up. That'll
Yep.
open up more opportunities for Green. And then to me, I really think the Warriors take it tonight. I think that they bounce
Yeah,
back. I
I do
think
too.
one thing I always say, you don't underestimate the heart of a champion. And these
Right.
guys are champions. They've been through the wars, and I know the Celtics, Al Horford, nobody's played more playoff games in history in the finals berth, before getting a finals berth than him. But these are different wars. This is a different team. And I think that the Warriors are ready to respond. I'm not saying they're going to win the series, but I
Right.
think they win game 4. And we had an electric game 5 atmosphere when they return back to San Francisco and Golden State to play the things out here. So there you have it. Both of them, the Warriors there. Q, thanks for doing the Friday show with me, man. It's always a pleasure. It's always fun, easy to get through to end the week. Let people know they can find you, follow you, and get more of your work.
Yeah, man. Locked On Raiders podcast, Locked On Bets, everything I do. You can always find me on Twitter at your boy Q254. Always tweeting out links to those shows. And of course, here on the Locked On NFL podcast every single Friday with you. Chris, let them know about your socials and everything you got going on.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Carter Critiques. You can find my show, Locked On Steelers, just like you find this show and Q's show on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, or YouTube. Just look up our shows. If you find our shows, hit subscribe on our networks. Hit the like button on any videos you see of us. It really helps us out. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts with positive comments. All that stuff really helps us out. You can also read my work at SteelersNow.com, where I write about the Steelers. I've been at OTAs and minicamp. I got a new classroom on why Chase Claypool is being moved into the slot position for the Steelers. If you're a fantasy owner, you might want to read it about how that might make his value shoot up this year in fantasy football, even with a new quarterback in Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. But again, find all that at SteelersNow.com. Q, thanks again. Listeners and viewers, thank you again. We hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back on your screen and in your ears next Friday right here on the Locked On NFL podcast.